Shalom Israel, and welcome to another edition of Yasharal's 20-minute breakdown, where I'll attempt to break down the scriptures within 20 minutes. But first and foremost, as always, you know how we do. We give all praises to Yahweh, Baha Shem, Yahweh Shai, Waha Rakah Kadash, and the Akims and the elders in the highways and byways pushing this word in truth and sincerity. All praises. And the elder women teaching the younger women. All praises to you too. And the camps and the solo brothers going out there, making videos, edifying the body, pushing the truth according to scriptures. All praises. Now, before I start, as you can see, once again, the background is a little different than normal. And that's because at the moment, I'm in Palma de Mallorca, which is in Spain, one of the Balearic Islands of Spain. Just taking a little respite, a couple weeks out in Palma de Mallorca. And the place I'm staying is a place called Can Picafort. That's actually where I'm staying, and this is the resort I'm on now. Anyway, nevertheless, now what I want to touch on today is our people, like Israelites, which is the blacks, the Hispanics, the Native Americans, and also the speckled birds, those that may not, should we say, quote unquote, look like an Israelite. You might look like an Edomite. You might look like, a Moabite. You might look like, an Ammonite. You might look like, even a Hamite. You might look like them, but your seed line goes back to the man Jacob, who had 12 sons, he's the progenitor or the forefather of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So if you go back to Jacob, then you are an Israelite. Obviously, going back to Isaac and Abraham. That doesn't, going back to Isaac and Abraham doesn't make you an Israelite, because only through Jacob, Jacob's name was changed to Israel, and then you have 12 sons, and that's where the 12 tribes of Israel started from. Before that, obviously the promises and the covenant was given, was passed down from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. So, that was passed down. But at Jacob now, there you have the Israelites come from the seed of Jacob. Yeah. And, from there, then descendants onwards. So if you come from that seed line, you're an Israelite. And the covenant and all that pertains to the Bible, i.e., like I say, the covenant, the old and the new, Yahushua coming and dying, so you can now receive them promises, to repent of your transgressions and your sins, and being able, once you endure to the end, to receive them promises. These are for you. Now, the thing with our people is that we want to give the kingdom to everybody. We want to share the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom that Yahushua, is setting up for us, through Yahweh. We want to share it with all other nations that are not Israelites, nations that don't come from Jacob. So we're talking about ethnic Gentiles. We seem to want to share it with anybody, and we say just because they believe, because, and that's one of the problems with us. Yeah, we won't gravitate to our own nation and nationality. We want to give it away. But when you look at this kingdom now, who's ruling, like the Edomites are ruling, are they trying to include you? Are they trying to share their kingdom with you? Do they include you in their constitutions, their laws, and even their hierarchy? Are you included and welcomed, but yet you want to give them what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has set up only for the Israelites? Yeah, and this is why I'm going to start at the book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 6. That's where I'm going to start. Where Yahushua himself says, give not that which is holy unto dogs. And when he says dogs, he's not talking about the four-legged creatures or animals, should we say, that walk on all fours and bark. He's talking about other nations which are outside the nation of Israel. That's what he's talking about. And you've got to remember, Israel is a people before a place. Because when the Bible talks about Israel, it's talking about the 12, tribes of Israel. It's not talking about the landmass as we know it today as Israel. Yeah, that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the 12 sons, that come from Jacob and those descendants onwards down to today. Because all nations are still on the earth today, but just now known by different names, not by their biblical names and nationalities that they're known of in the Bible. Because when you go in the Bible, you won't find black man in the Bible. You won't find, let's say, you won't find, white man in the Bible. You won't find Chinese. You won't find Japanese. You won't find, what do you say? Let's say Burmese or, these things that you hear today, like, you will not find them in the Bible. That, what people, Romanian and all these, you won't find them in the Bible. But all nations are still on the earth. They're just now known as different names because they've gone conquering lands, cut up lands, call them by their own names or name them however they want to name them. And then people are born in that land. And then what happens is, like British, England, where is that in the Bible? America, the name America, Africa. Where's that in the Bible? You won't find them names, but people call themselves Africans, Jamaicans, Barbados, St. Vincent, Montserrat, you won't find them names in the Bible. So we have to, as Israelites, we have to stop trying to include all nations, and just want to save everybody. Because when push comes to shove, the ruling class today ain't trying to save you. If anything, they're trying to exterminate you. That's what's happening with these, things they want to inject you with. I mean, just look up or research the Tuskegee, experiment. Just look up that and you see what they did to our people. Yeah? So, with that said, I'm going to start with Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. And I'm going to start my timer. Yeah? And I'm going to start now in 3, 2, 1. Boom. We're away. Let's start with Matthew chapter 7 and verse 6. And it reads, Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you. Now, Yahushua warned you, do not try to give the other nations, the other nations, what is set apart for you, what he, what the Most High promised the Israelites. Remember, when you go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1, and then if you keep the commandments, law, statutes, that there was a promise for you. But when you jump to verse 15, if you didn't, there was certain curses that were going to befall these people. Now, when you go through that, you see those curses fits a certain group of people, my people, and Hispanics and Native Americans, and those people, Now, he said, remember, Matthew chapter 7 verse 6 says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs. So the Most High, through Yahushua is showing you, do not give these other nations, which he looks at as dogs, do not give them what the blessings, the covenant and all that, what pertains to you. Yeah? And watch this. I'm going to jump to the book of Exodus, chapter 11 and verse 7, and it reads, Exodus chapter 11, verse 7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that Yahweh doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So even from the beginning, Most High is already showing you that there was a separation between the Israelites and the Egyptians. When we was in Egypt, when we were catching hell, look what the Most High done to the Egyptians, all those plagues, and none of the plagues touched the Israelites until, he eventually killed the firstborn of all Pharaoh's house and the Egyptians. And, not one person or even animal of the Israelites, died. So showing that the Most High was only fighting for the Israelites. Now, let's jump to Exodus chapter 9, verse 16 to 18, and it reads, Exodus chapter 9, verse 16, and it reads, And in very deed, for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Now, this is the Most High showing to Pharaoh. This is why Pharaoh was raised up to this height. So the Most High now can show his power and bring him down low, even lower than the Israelites. Because you've got to remember, when they came out, the Egyptians pursued Israel. And the Most High, through Moses, parted the sea. The Israelites went through on dry land. And as the Egyptians tried to follow, the sea came back and they drowned. Exodus chapter 9 and verse 17. Listen to this. As ye exalteth thou thyself against my people, that thou wilt not let them go. So see, that's why, because Pharaoh and his people exalted themselves above the Israelites, put us into captivity, and made our lives hell with hard bondage. So the Most High saw all this, yeah? So even now, when you look at what's happening, like in this kingdom, the Most High is not sleeping. He's seeing all this, but he's waiting to seal the elect before real judgment reigns on the other nations. Now, back to Exodus chapter 9, verse 18, and it reads, Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as has not been in Egypt since the foundation thereof, even until now. And that was one of the judgments the Most High plagued Pharaoh and his people with, for the sake of Israel, his people, the people he ordained. Yeah? Now, let's jump back to Matthew, and this time we're going to take Matthew chapter 15, verse 26 into 27. Now, this is when Yahushua was in the Canaanite lands, and a woman out of Canaan came and besought him to heal her daughter. I'll pick it up from there. Watch this. Matthew chapter 15, verse 26, and it reads, because this is after, he didn't answer her when she came to him asking her to heal her daughter. He ignored her. The disciples said, send her away. You can read all that yourself. And then after, this is what he said. Yeah. And this is Matthew chapter 15, verse 26. And it reads, but he answered and said, it is not meet, it is not right to take the children's bread, the Israelites' blessings and their covenant, and cast it to dogs and give it to the other nations, which a lot of our people are trying to include. Christianity is a big player in the field of trying to include the other nations, yeah? But the Bible and the promises and all that comes with it, and Yahushua, who the one you call Christ, didn't die for them, the other nations, yeah, to be grafted back into a covenant that they were never a part of. But yet you trying to include them and pull them in. It's not your call. You don't have that authority. Yeah? Now watch this. Let's jump back to Matthew chapter 15. I'm going to read verse 26 again into 27. Watch this. Matthew chapter 15 verse 26. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs. Verse 27, and she said, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. Verse 20, watch this, verse 28. Then Yahushua answered and said unto her, O woman, great is thy faith, be it unto thee even as thou wilt. And her daughter was made whole from that very hour. Now, people read that point and say, well, you see, he did save her, he did this and that. But you got to remember, after she took some humiliation. And now, what I want to do, what a lot of people don't do, I want to read you Mark's account. Because look at it like this, right? When let's say in modern day time, when something happens, like an accident or something happens on the street or wherever, when the police turn up and make inquisition, they don't just ask one witness and call it like that. What they do, they ask many witnesses that they can find. Because what will happen is, if I'm a witness and I say something, there may be something I may have missed. But if you ask that other witness and that other witness, the three stories puts together the whole picture. So what I may have missed, the brother here, shall we say, may have seen and be able to say, and vice versa. What he missed, I may have seen. Do you remember? No one can see the world through your own eyes. So it's just like this. If you ask somebody to describe a table, one person might focus on the tabletop and describe that. Another person might focus on the legs of the table, how it stands, and focus on that. Another person might focus on the shape of the table and focus on that. But you see, if you speak to all of us, you get a full picture of how the table looks, how it's set, and how it stands. Yeah? Now watch this, yeah? I'm going to read Mark's account. I'm going to take it up at the same place I took it up with Yahushua saying to the woman in Matthew chapter 15, it is not meet, meaning it is not right to cast the children's bread unto the dogs. Now watch this, yeah? Mark chapter 7, verse 26, and it reads, the woman was a Greek, a Phoenician by nation, and see that by nation, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. Watch this now, verse 27 of Mark chapter 7. But Yahushua said unto her, let the children first be filled, for it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it unto the dogs. So there again. But watch this, yeah? Verse 28. And she answered and said unto him, yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. Now watch what Yahushua says, yeah? At this point, verse 29, and he said unto her, for this saying, go thy way, the devil is gone out of thy daughter. Verse 30, and when she was come to her house, she found the devil gone out, and her daughter laid upon the bed. Now you notice what Yahushua said in Mark's account. He said, for this saying, meaning as you has acknowledged your position, you haven't exalted yourselves above the children of Israel. And that's why the daughter was healed. Yeah? Not because she had faith. What some people like, like Christians like to go to Matthew 15 to try to say, well, he healed her. It was her faith. What it was her acknowledging her position. That's what it is. And that's why he gave her her request. But he didn't offer her any living water or bread of life or everlasting. He just did as she asked because she acknowledged her position to the Israelites. Now watch this, yeah? I'm going to jump to Galatians chapter 6 and verse 7, and it reads, Galatians chapter 6 verse 7, be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So you have to beware. You sowing too much love for the other nations and not for your own people, you're going to receive what, because you got to remember, the other nations don't love you. They don't love us. So you showing so much love for the other nations and not putting your people first, like the other nations do. You look at them so-called Jewish people. Show me where they put you or try to include you as a so-called black man or even an Arab man or a Chinese man. Show me where they try to include you into their schools, into their community. The Chinese is the same. You got like in like back at home in Leicester Square, Chinatown. Show me where they invite you, Caucasian, or you, so-called black man, Israelite. Show me where they invite you into their, their community. You got down Brick Lane, like, the what do you call them? The Indians. Like the Indian people, show me where they include you and welcome you. Yeah? So you see? So whatsoever you sow, that's what you'll reap. You can't sow corn and reap daisies. Don't work like that. You sow corn, you're going to reap corn. Now watch this. I'm going to jump to the book of Philippians, chapter 3 and verse 2. Watch this. This is Paul warning you of this. Philippians chapter 3 verse 2, and it reads, beware of dogs. You see, and this is the other nations. He's warning you, beware of the other nations. Beware of dogs. Beware of evil workers. Beware of the concision. Now, you see, Paul is warning you to beware of these dogs, these other nations, because they've got no love for you, but yet you're trying to bring them into the covenant that was never theirs and that ain't theirs. And it says also, beware of evil workers. Yeah, those that you're trying to bring in, they don't want to, they claim Yahushua, Jesus, but they don't want to keep no laws. They're the same ones that turn around and says, oh, you can't keep the laws. Oh, the laws are done away with. Yeah, but you're still trying to pull them into a covenant that doesn't belong to them. And then it also says in Philippians 3 and 2, beware of the concision. Now, what's the concision? Now, the concision is a Greek word, which is on Strong's G2699. And I don't know if I'm saying it right. It's a Greek word called katatome. I may have pronounced it wrong, but that's what the word is. And it means like division, a schism, yeah? A sect, a separation. And that's what Christianity comes with. And you're trying to bring them in with that schism, that separation, that division. Because they're not teaching you anything, thus saith the Lord. They're teaching you, thus saith the Christian pastor. This feel-good doctrine, yeah? That's what they're teaching you, yeah? And now, and watch this, I'm going to jump to the book of Psalms, chapter 22, verse 16, because this is Yahushua, the one you call Christ, prophesying through King David. Watch what he says here. Psalms chapter 22, verse 16, and it reads, for dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. Showing you he's not talking about literally dogs. Remember, the Romans did this, even though, we did say our ancestors, let his blood be on us and on our children. And they said, kill him. Those were Israelites. But who actually put him on the cross and pierced his side and stared at him was the Romans, which are of another nation. Because you got to remember Pontius Pilate washed his hands and said, be it he's not guilty of this man's blood, just paraphrasing, showing that the other nations are not covered by the blood of Yahweh Shai. They're not covered by, that washing of hands was symbolic. Same with how the word cleanses you. That Pontius Pilate washing off his hands before Yahweh Shai was put on the cross and crucified. The other nations are not covered under the blood, but we are. So we must keep his commandments and his statutes, and have total faith in Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Now I'm going to jump to Revelation chapter 22, verse 14 to 16. Watch this, because this is the only way, watch this. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Watch verse 15. For without are dogs. So you see that? It doesn't say if they believe they're in. It says for without. So the other nations are outside. End of story. There's no coming in for them because the kingdom wasn't built for them. It says for with outside the kingdom are dogs, these other nations, and sorcerers. Now these would be Israelites who haven't kept the commandments, who's turned to sorcery, and whoremongers. These are ones that ain't been keeping the laws, whoremongers, and murderers ain't been keeping the laws, and idolaters ain't been keeping the laws, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. All those that have not been keeping the commandments, but claim they have faith in Yahweh Shai, and he is their Lord and Savior. They're on the outside looking in. They ain't going to make it because you've got to have works and faith. That's it. It's that simple. And watch this, Revelation chapter 22 and verse 16. And it reads, I, Yahweh Shai, this is his words, Yahweh Shai's words. I, Yahweh Shai, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. He sent his messengers, because angel is just another word of saying his messengers. He sent his messengers to testify to the churches, which are the Israelites. Remember, because the congregation is the church, the people, not the building. So he sent to us, myself and many brothers all around the globe, to testify these things to the Israelites. And it reads, I am the root and the offspring of David and the bright morning star. So, just wanted to show you that Israelites, my people, stop trying to give what is holy unto the other nations, and stop trying to hold hands with everybody that doesn't want to hold hands with you, that's put you at the bottom in their kingdom, but you want them side by side in yours if you are of that number and of that elect. So, I hope I made sense. Sun's going down. It's getting very dark now. So this is Yasharallah out here in Spain. Can pick a fort. With that, this is Yasharallah, and there goes my timer. Bang on cue. With that, we out.